Hey everyone, there's breaking news from Russia where the World Cup is being held, where England are playing their first game today. Wish them the best of luck. Brian McDonald, whose Twitter bio just reads journalist, which I love, he says breaking, Russians are, quote, too friendly. And he's talking about some journalists on Twitter. This is Oliver Cavell of The Independent. An English fan in Volgograd, quote, I don't understand, the Russians are being too friendly. It's almost worrying. I was speaking to an ultras guy with Marseille 2016 tattooed onto his leg, and all he wanted to do was hug me. This is Sean Walker. He works, I think it's for The Guardian. The England fans I've met in Volgograd so far are absolutely loving it. Quote, it's the opposite of what we expected. Everyone has been amazingly welcoming. Last night was brilliant. Couldn't ask for a better start to a World Cup trip. Another fan said, my girlfriend didn't want me to come because she thought I'd get beaten up. Having been here for a few days, I think she should probably have been more worried about me being unfaithful. And Brian McDonald, who's an Irish correspondent for RT in Russia, who made the first tweet of this video, he gets it. He says this begs the question of why Russia is the opposite of what English fans were expecting. Could it be because British media coverage of Russia is not presenting an accurate picture of the country? And he's right. This is a documentary that the BBC put out last year on Russia and Russian football. Just take a look at this pure propaganda.
A football culture where violence is celebrated.
А так добиваем, блядь, пока сознание не потеряем. Повод прекратить нахуй это смех.
I tracked down the men who terrorized Marseille.
В деле, когда мы хорошие, нас не вспоминают, когда мы плохие, нас не забывают, и это вот было на протяжении лета.
And meet the next generation of hooligans as they train for the World Cup.
Для одних людей праздник футбола, для других людей тот же самый праздник насилия.
It's just pure propaganda. It's just pure propaganda. Brian McDonald, he gets it, the guy does. He says people who have never visited any country largely form their view of it from how it's presented in the media they consume. Hence why Hollywood has been such a powerful tool for the US, for instance. They could have done a different documentary on Russia. The BBC could have. They could have done a much better documentary as well, and much more educational, because it's so fitting that England's first game in this World Cup is in the city of Volgograd. You couldn't have picked a better place in Russia for it to be held, because Volgograd used to be called Stalingrad, and Stalingrad was the site of what many historians call the greatest battle in history. This is from the Encyclopedia Britannica. It says, the Battle of Stalingrad was a successful Soviet defense of the city of Stalingrad, now Volgograd, during World War II. Russians consider it to be one of the greatest battles of their great patriotic war, and most historians consider it to be the greatest battle of the entire conflict. It stopped the German advance into the Soviet Union and marked the turning of the tide of the war in favour of the Allies. It was key for Hitler, the Battle of Stalingrad was, and it was a terrible defeat. He needed Stalingrad because he needed the shipping routes from the River Volga, which is the largest river in Europe, and he also needed the oil reserves in the south of Russia for his military might to continue. And he got stopped. It was key. 500,000 Russians died in that battle. 500,000. And I think 200,000 Germans. Many of these Russian men who were fighting in that battle were sent into battle without a rifle because there was a shortage of weapons. They were sent into battle without a rifle, and they were told, when one of your comrades dies, you pick up his weapon. And also there was a standing order, one step back and the officers shoot you. One step back. That was the order. They could have done a brilliant documentary on that at the BBC. and really educated people, but instead they went down the route of propagandizing the public. They did another documentary and sent Frankie Boyle, who, let's face it, is going to come back with a pretty bad view. The guy doesn't even like flying. He had to go by train. That is going to make you miserable before you even get there. It's just pure propaganda that they put out. And they keep talking about Russian aggression in the news. They keep pointing to Crimea in the news. Well, how many wars are Russia in right now? How many countries are Russia bombing? Are they bombing 8 like the Americans are? The American government? No. It was Russia that wanted to stay in the ABM treaty. It was Russia that wanted to completely nuclear disarm under Gorbachev. It was America that said no. It was Russia that put the first man in space. We must always remember history and remember that sometimes the propaganda machine just starts whirring, and we have to be aware of it. And these football fans, these English football fans in Russia, hopefully are going to come back with some wonderful stories of how great Russia is. And hopefully they're going to be able to spread the word that we're just being propagandized here. It's just a McCarthyite smear. And hopefully the public will change the direction rather than the government, because the narrative that they have been spinning has been absolutely shameful. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and please click the bell down there so you get a notification of when I drop further videos. Otherwise, YouTube will hide the video from you. Yes, they have admitted that they do that. Also, we're facing an absolute onslaught in independent media from the establishment at the moment, including YouTube. I don't make any money from YouTube whatsoever. I rely totally on the audience for me to continue doing this. So if you can afford to send me $2, $3, $5, whatever it is that you can afford through Patreon, again, the link is down there, I will be eternally grateful, and it'll allow me to keep giving you the truth and cut through the propaganda and the BS that we get from the corporate and establishment media. If you can't afford to do it, please share the video as wide as you can. Talk to your friends and family about the issues that I and other channels on YouTube who are independent raise. Thanks very much for your support. We have to fight back against this. Till next time, peace and take care.